this is probably the first question that comes to my mind. It's been a year and some change, right, since the last album. Are you guys working on new stuff?
No, we're still in touring mode, right now. Obviously, we got the tour coming up in March, with Meshuggah and Carcass, and so we're basically still in touring mode at this point. Yeah,
That's going to be a cool fucking tour.
yeah, I think so. Should be a lot of fun. We're looking forward to that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Now you guys haven't played with Meshuggah before, have you?
No, this will be our first time. It should be a lot of fun. Great band, of course. Playing some great venues in some cool cities, so it should be a lot of fun. And then we've toured with Carcass before,
Yeah.
albeit probably different version. It's been years, but cool to have them on the bill as well. So yeah, it's going to be an awesome tour.
Yeah, those guys crushed too. We just
Yeah.
did the Headbangers Boat and
Oh,
tried
right.
called all of their sets. I'm like,
Oh, oh, nice, awesome. Yeah, that had to be fun. The Headbangers Boat, huh? Cool. Yeah.
yeah, I keep asking the Lamb of God guys. I'm like, can we get Cannibal Corpse on there?
Yeah, well, they might. I mean, we know Randy fairly well and those guys.
Yeah,
And, I mean, it's a lot more probably logistics involved, but I mean, there's probably a good possibility that it could happen at some point. So that'd be fun to do, of course.
that would be fantastic.
Yeah, yeah.
So, in your years of touring, what have been some of those like highlights that really stand out to you?
I mean, it's just crazy. We've been together so long and done so many tours. It's amazing, really, in itself that, here we are still talking about it and being current and all this kind of thing and with no end in sight. So, I mean, so just the whole run and every tour we've done has been pretty remarkable and incredible. You're always going to go back to, I think, the firsts. When you're a new band, when you're a new young musician and all that kind of a thing. How are those tours and those times not the most special, really?
Yeah.
So you're always going to look back at your first couple tours. The first time we went to Europe, I mean, just special, of course. Here we are in Europe, like what the heck? This is amazing. You never would have thought this would ever be happening, and just playing anywhere outside of your city is pretty incredible. So yeah, here we are in Europe for the first time, and that would have been what, back in 1991, and then just a few of the tours that happened after that. All those early on kind of things were just incredible because of the newness of it. But and then we toured with so many great bands over the years, and touring on that Mayhem Festival, the last one that Slayer did as a with geez, when was that? 2009, I think it
Yeah.
was. With the original lineup. I mean, that was incredible for us because we never actually toured with Slayer, albeit, we're not sharing the stage, but, we're on the Mayhem Festival. We're able to watch Slayer every night, and it's the original band. I mean, that was a really, really special tour to be a part of. And then, of course, even the last tour that we did with them, just
Like leg six of
farewell.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, on their farewell tour. I mean, that was amazing to be a part of that. Like, wow, what a big deal that was. So and then many many countless festivals and great bands over the years. I mean, it's almost too much to name. We'll be talking for hours about all this, but yeah, but so many great tours over the years. Definitely that we we're happy for all of them and proud of all of them.
As you should be. I mean, that's, you're 30 something years
Right.
into
Well,
the band. I
yeah.
think for any band to make it that long is it's impressive.
Well, yeah, yeah, definitely. I'm just thinking about that today. I know 36 years, I believe it is, and
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there was no, I was just talking to somebody about this. It's funny you bring it up because, right, the precedent back when we started, you're thinking of, we've been forming what, December of '88, and then you think of the bands that were your heroes, and the bands that are obviously legendary, like say Iron Maiden and things like that, and they were only around 10 years at that point. They're
Yeah.
yeah, I know. There was no precedent, about of bands being around for 40 years or 50 years or 30 years for that matter. That's back then when you start. So you're just going, wow, yeah, we're a band. This is great. Okay, you play shows and those are special because I think you're also thinking, well, this one's how long do you got? Is this could be over tomorrow? In
Yeah.
5 years, who knows? I mean, because there's you're not thinking ahead, going, man, we're going to be a band like for 50 years, like this band. Well, there hasn't
Right.
been a band around at that point for 50 years.
Right.
So it is really kind of crazy to think about it in that way, you know. So yeah, to be around now as long as we have is pretty remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, think of all the music that you guys have really inspired to go out and play at this point. Um, so often talking to bands and it, Cannibal Corpse is like the band, now it's so crazy to think, now it's the band that everyone's like, man,
Right.
Cannibal Corpse was that for me.
Right, right. Yeah, amazing to hear. I know that we can be influential for any musician or anybody for that matter. But I know, yeah, we've been around that long, you know.
Yeah.
So I know we're the old band at this point, you know, in a sense. That the classic band that's been around for a long time. I mean, so it is pretty remarkable to think that we're influencing a lot of people, and it's an amazing feeling, of course, that you just want to do the best you can do as a band, and yeah, if you can you look at that as a huge success if you can influence anybody to want to pick up an instrument or what have you, or just be helpful in their lives in any way possible. I mean, that's amazing. It's an amazing feeling. So, yeah, so that's yeah, pretty crazy when you really sit down and think about it, how it all panned out.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. Because you don't, I mean, I'm sure when you guys started, there wasn't oh, we're gonna, go play Madison Square Garden and we're gonna play with Slayer and all this other shit. It was,
Sure.
I guess, like, just like you were saying, like,
Right.
let's just go out and play some shows and have some fun.
That's all it was about, right? And that's, I think, the way it should be. And we didn't have any preconceived notions. We, of course, everybody wants to be successful in what they do. Like if you're a band or an actor or I don't know, in any of these kind of arts thing, an athlete. But first and foremost, you just want to have fun doing it. And if things happen good from it, of course, that's the bonus. And I think that was our attitude. Yeah, we love playing this music. We want to play it. You want to play shows. You want to get your music out there. You want to record if you can. But and if those things happen, great. And then you just take it from there. But there was never any expectations really. It was just
Right.
let's work hard. Let's do the best we can do. Let's have fun and see what happens. So I mean that's so every day everything we've done has just been like, wow, that's amazing. I mean, we would have never thought because we just didn't have that kind of mindset, of that, right? So it's pretty, it's the way way you should be. I think you're not let down. You just go about it and take it day by day and see what happens.
Yeah, keep low expectations
That's
and,
right. That's
you
right.
know, then you're never crushed.
Exactly right, for sure.
Oh shit. So what cities like stand out to you when you guys go on tour that you really like going to play or just going to visit because the city itself is cool as hell?
There's so many great ones. Of course, in the States, I remember in the early days, especially. And then, of course, there's still those cities, but like Chicago was always a hotbed for us. I mean, I remember on our first tour, it was probably one of our biggest cities. So you're going, wow, that's amazing. Chicago, what a scene. And it still is. It's a great
Yeah.
city. It's a great place to play. You got your cities like LA that are always amazing, and New York City, of course. And then, and there's just, they're everywhere is great in the South and throughout Texas. Almost anywhere in Texas is amazing in the country. And I mean, they're all good. But yeah, I mean, there's going to be, I think, the bigger cities. Just you need more people, of course, and when there's more population than the ones I just mentioned. So always great places to play. And then yeah, well, we got such an amazing country, and there's so much cool stuff to see. Yeah, go out west, to play in the desert and see all that scenery out there, and like places like Phoenix, and in the Northwest, you got places like Seattle. That's amazing countryside, and I mean, we're very fortunate to live in such a diverse country like that, to have all this
Yeah.
cool stuff to see and be in cool cities to be in that are different than the next one. So really cool being some place like just New York City. I mean, what a metropolis, right? What a crazy scene that is. I mean, it's just like like you're on a different planet when you go to New York City, right? It's
Yeah.
insane. But that's what makes it cool. Everything's different and it's special in their own way. So yeah, a lot of great places. I mean, yeah, they're all good, really. They are.
When you get to a town, do you like seek out specific food? Like, hit New York, I want to go get some good Italian or whatever.
It just depends. If there's a place that we know or have been to before that I'm going, okay, this place is amazing, and I have to go back. And there's a few of those throughout the country, not every city. A lot of times it'd be like, maybe I don't go at all out at all. You eat maybe what they have catering for you, or I mean, we're fortunate to, have a surplus of food like on our bus. Where you might go, yeah, I'm just going to save the money today, and I'm going to, make something in the air fryer that I'm going to love anyways because I would make it at home or what have you. But yeah, but there's a few places that you go, okay, yeah, I love this restaurant and I need to go whenever I'm in this city. There's a couple. There's one. I'm vegetarian. I've been for about 23 years now, and it's not in the States, but in Montreal, there's this amazing buffet. It's like a vegan buffet, and every time I'm there, I'm like, oh my, I have to go eat there. If I'm in Montreal, I'm going to this restaurant. We're from Buffalo, or the original band's from Buffalo, so not so much maybe a restaurant. Well, there's a few favorite places, but we're myself, maybe, and Alex being from Buffalo, and Rob, we're biased to. Buffalo pizza. I mean, it's different than anywhere in the country, kind of a thing. So when we're home in Buffalo, it's what we grew up with. We're craving something like that,
Oh
and
yeah.
go to my favorite pizza place and eat that when I'm in Buffalo for sure. And yeah, so there's a few throughout, but not every. And then you might just know, hey, you got to try this place because this, you heard a recommendation from somebody that going, okay, if it's close by, sure, I'm not going to make a if it's got to take an Uber or something, whatever, maybe I'm not going to go, but yeah, so it usually comes down to something that I've already had, or a high recommendation of something that I need to go to try. But yeah, so there's those few, yes, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know that you were vegetarian.
No, right, yeah, yeah. Then she's now right. When I say 20,
20.
23 years, yeah, 22 years, something like that. Yeah, yeah, crazy.
Wow. What was that? What made you decide to do that?
I didn't want to eat the animals anymore. That was as easy as that. I grew up, of course, a meat eater, and a Polish family living in Buffalo. It's meat and potatoes, and there was nothing wrong with that. I loved it, of course. But then the older I got, I was just starting to, I guess, feel hypocritical, knowing that, man, I can never kill an animal to eat it, but yet I can turn my head and somebody else can do it for me, and then I can enjoy it and eat it, and I was just really starting to get hypocritical in that view of, man, I believe every animal deserves to live. And if I can not, eat one and eat any, then I'll be happy with myself. And that's when I made that decision. Yeah, what was it? You said about 22 years ago to stop eating meat altogether and just go. You know what? That was my mindset. It wasn't because it wasn't health reasons. And it wasn't like I got sick or I hated it. I know I loved eating meat. I would have probably told you 6 months up until I was going to become a vegetarian if I would have, if I didn't know at that point. But I would have said, there's no way. I bet you $1 million. I'm never going to be
Yeah.
a vegetarian. And things change. Your minds, things in your head change and your views change, I guess. And this one was a very strong one for me that made that decision to do it. And it was actually one of the easiest things I ever did, which was kind of crazy. I thought it would be a little harder since you're eating meat your whole life,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden you're not. So, oh man, it's gonna be difficult. I got to really, but it wasn't. I was ready. I was ready. So it was, like I said, probably one of the easiest things I ever did, actually, which was kind of crazy to think.
Yeah, it really is. I think I guess kind of look at it the same way as like smoking, right?
Yeah,
You
totally. Yep.
you make that
Yeah.
decision
Right.
and then
Yeah.
you move on.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's exactly the same thing. Once you get that in your head, I don't want it anymore. And if you're ready to do it, you're ready. You're never going to quit smoking or become a vegetarian like the New Year's resolution thing.
Right.
Oh, I'm going to do it, starting January. No, you're not. You're not. It's going to happen August 12th or something,
Yeah.
because you just are finally, you're ready, right? So yeah, it's the same mentality.
Yeah, funny. February 19th, I quit smoking.
Oh,
February
nice.
19th of 2010.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Congratulations. I mean, I know
Thanks.
that's a tough one, man, and yeah, man, smoking such a, yeah, man, I know. I wish, Yeah, everyone's got their view on that, but I never liked cigarettes, and and I don't know how addicting they are. Of course, I have a lot of friends that smoke, and to each their own at the same time. But I mean, I would imagine most people know it's not good for you,
Yeah,
and if you can quit, you're going to quit, but it's not that easy. So that's good that you did.
for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Yeah, I feel a lot better,
good.
since I quit smoking. Did you notice, like, when you went vegetarian, have you noticed a change in your health?
Not really. It was weird because obviously, like I said, I didn't do it for those reasons. So I almost was like, if I am unhealthy, I don't care. I'm going to feel better as a person myself because I'm
Yeah.
doing, and I'm hoping I'm not going to. It's going to affect me that way. I guess. I mean, I always think hypothetically, like, why, right? What if I went into my doctor and goes, "Hey, you're going to die tomorrow if you don't eat meat." Okay, well then maybe I would consider it. Maybe consider it, right? Because it's like it's causing me harm, I suppose. But if it's not, and right, here I am still doing what I'm doing, active, playing drums, playing death metal style drums, and all this kind of thing at this age, being a vegetarian for 22 years, I guess it's been okay, So I'd say my health overall has been, kind of the same, which is good, right? So
Yeah. No crazy, like, noticeable changes, which,
right.
especially with, I guess the amount of vegetarian and vegan options out there now, it's, probably a lot easier. Hell, now even like more so than 20 years ago
Oh, of
to get
course.
those.
Yeah, there's so many more options. I mean, and just for in a flavor set standpoint, because obviously you can be healthy just as a vegetarian, eating bland, eating just literally vegetables and fruits and things like that, and beans and stuff. But it's good to know that there's so many great options. Being, yeah, I like I said, I love the taste of meat. So if I can, and it's not necessarily healthier, like say the Beyond products or the Impossible products. If you can have a Beyond Burger and go, wow, this tastes like a hamburger to me, well, I'm all for it because I love that flavor. So if I can get that flavor and it being not eating an animal, that's great. Like I said, doesn't mean that's any healthier because it's vegetarian.
Right.
But you still be able to get some proteins and stuff. You just got to be careful, like anything else, moderation, and be careful what you do, and eat, and you still got to do the normal things, exercise, stay hydrated. I mean, I think that's the key as well. That's why maybe I feel like there was no transition or no change because I've really tried to do more in the other way. Right when I quit drinking, or I mean, when I quit eating meat, it was around the same time I gave up drinking soda, and that actually was hard, like almost like maybe not as hard as smoking, of course, but that took a month of willpower. Like,
Oh
oh my
yeah.
God, I wanted to take, I love Dr. Peppers. That was my thing. And I mean, I was like, okay, I got to stop. I know they're not good for you. I just need to stop. And I still drink coffee and I don't think I can ever give that up, but I'm not like drinking coffee like I drank Dr. Peppers, where that's all you're drinking all day if you're into like, Cokes and things. So I gave that up and I was like, I felt that was a huge success and a huge positive change to just strictly drink water from that point on. How is that not going to be better for you when you're just ingesting water all day as opposed to this soda that's just who knows what it's doing to your innards, right? And
Right.
yeah, so that was good. Making those kind of changes definitely helps. So I think that definitely helped me in my situation, and for longevity purposes, I would think it would help for anybody.
Yeah. They say caffeine, to get rid of caffeine is supposed to be really good for you also.
Right, right,
Uh, I was a big coffee drinker. I sometimes 2 pots a day.
right. Yep.
I, I
Yeah.
quit for I quit for about a year
Oh, right, right.
and went back to it.
Yeah,
Now, obviously moderating now, but
right,
man, I felt so clear and had
oh,
so much energy in that
right,
time.
right, right. Yeah, man, I know that's the one thing I can't, like, I cut down my intake. I was, like I think back when I quit drinking soda, well, I was drinking the coffee in the morning and then I'm drinking soda all day. So you cut out the soda, okay. And now I'm just on coffee and I'm obviously drinking too much coffee, like probably like at least a pot a day, if not a little more, exactly the same thing. And then finally I had to make a decision. I remember getting a major anxiety attack once and I knew it was from coffee. And I'm like, man, I got to cut my coffee intake. It didn't make me want to quit, but it made me definitely cut my intake. And then and I've noticed huge difference. But right, man, I've never quit drinking coffee. I wish I could. I know. I wish I really could just stop. I mean, I just love coffee so much. I love the flavor. I guess I'm probably you don't realize that you probably do need the caffeine. I'm kind of a hyper person, anyways. It's not like I need my coffee. Some people, of course, wake up and go, they're in a fog, right? And they
Yeah.
need their coffee. I'm not that guy. I can wake up and I'm ready to go. So it's like I don't need coffee to kind of get me going. It's like no, I just love coffee. So you would think, damn, it would be easy to quit, but I just, man, I don't know. I love it so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. If I did, what a difference I'm sure it would make, Damn.
Hell, maybe not.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
I don't
it
know.
did for me, but it,
Everybody's different, I guess. But I would think, like you said, though, you read about it. I'm sure it would be better if you probably didn't,
yeah.
even though they always say, oh, a little bit here, like drinking red wine, those benefits and stuff. Well, I guess yeah, who knows, right? But I would think if you're not drinking like any alcohol, that would probably be better than drinking some or just to get the caffeine. I don't know. Who knows?
Yes. Well,
Who
that's
knows?
exactly it. They're like everything in
Yeah,
moderation. Well,
right, right,
shit,
right.
even some stuff in moderation is
Yeah,
not good for
yeah,
you.
exactly. Right, right. That's totally it. Right, right. So,
Like heroin in moderation
yeah,
is not going to be
no,
like, hey,
I know. Yeah, that's all right. That's okay as long as you don't overdo it, right?
right? Just a
Uh,
little bit, just a
yeah,
little
yeah.
dab,
That's
you'll be
okay. That'll be all
fine.
right.
That's so funny.
Uh,
What's your favorite coffee?
I'm not too particular. My favorite bean, I guess, is like Colombian roast, like that middle of the ground kind of a thing. But I'm not a huge like connoisseur in that regard. Just like a good cup of coffee. Like said the Colombian bean seems to be a really flavorful in the middle kind of thing for me. But I don't know if you've ever had the Cannibal Corpse coffee. I mean, that's some good coffee. We got
Nope.
that. We got the beheading and brewing. If you go to that or to conceptcafes.com, I believe it is. Let's just look it up. Look up, Cannibal Corpse. I think it's called Beheading and Brewing. Brewing is the name of our coffee, and we've been doing it for a couple of years with this place out of Orlando, and they're doing some band collaborations, and that's good coffee. They're a really good coffee company, and the fans seem to enjoy it, and people that buy it seem to enjoy it. Some cool Vincent Locke original artwork and all
Yeah.
that. But yeah, it's a really good coffee. I drink that quite often because I'm able to obtain it, of course. But that's some good coffee. So
Well, maybe I'll give it a shot.
yeah, a little plug there, a little Cannibal Corpse coffee plug for you.
Go get your Cannibal Corpse coffee today.
That's right, right.
So you're also doing the Commodore Corpse stuff right now,
Right,
right?
right here. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's just something for fun, and I've done it twice, so that's nothing major. But yeah, in Tampa, the story is, well, because I'm an ice hockey player, I've been my whole life playing ice hockey, and I still play to this day, and I'm sure I'll play until I can't move anymore. That's what probably most hockey players do. My dad skated till he was 70, so I'm hoping to
Yeah.
follow his footsteps and just play as long as you can. I mean, it's a great sport. I'm able to do it, so it's part of me. But anyways, I play with this guy. And last year he said, "Hey, there's this little question for you. I'm a part of this comedy club in Tampa here, Tampa, Florida, and we have it's an improv club and all that. But we'd love to have you come on as a guest. And what you would be doing is just telling some stories, of that I have throughout my life and mostly probably the band, of course, And what I would do is just we'll go up on stage." Talk about a story. Like, for instance, of course, the main one to talk about would be something like, which I did, being in Ace Ventura. So you
Yeah.
go and tell this story and everyone's there. And then what I talk for about 5 minutes. And then the improv guys, people, girls, what do you call them, the troupe or whatever, like 6 or 7 of them just get up on stage and now start just doing improv skits, and it's loosely based on what I was talking about, basically. And they would skit for like 10 minutes, and then they might end up doing changing it up. So but it's just, yeah, it was all fun stuff, something different for me. but I'm up there just telling stories. So it's not like I know there was a big misconception at first. Everybody thought I was doing like stand-up comedy, and I'm like, no, I had to make that note. I was almost ready to put a post and I think I did have to write something, but I'm like, no, I'm not doing stand-up. I'm just telling stories, and they're doing the improv skits. So I've done this twice now. I just did one right like, a couple weeks ago or a month or so ago, and a lot of fun. Great guy that I play hockey with, like I said, and helping him out and helping their comedy club out. So yeah, something different and something pretty fun to do.
It'd be pretty good if you got up there and did stand up, though.
Well, I mean, I don't, it's funny because I love comedy, and I just don't picture myself being. I was so nervous just going up doing what I was doing. I'm just like, okay, I'm just telling stories, and I was already nervous in that regard because I'm not the guy. I do interviews and I can talk like this and talk on camera and be like pretty relaxed for the most part. But now I'm talking in front of a live audience, which is weird, and I'm not used to that. Obviously, when I'm on stage, I'm the drummer in the back. Now I don't say anything, and you're behind the drums, right? So now I'm the lone person that people are focusing on, and I'm talking to people in front of me live like this. So it was at first it was nerve wracking, and I was just, man, I wasn't sure. Am I going to freeze up? Am I going to start stumbling my words and all that? And I think I did fairly well, and everybody said I did all right and had fun. So it was funny because I can come up with some things to make people laugh, perhaps, or I got my own inside jokes. I don't know if I would ever want to ever go that route because I don't think I can do it. I guess never say never, but it was funny. The last time I did it, it was twice. The one girl during the last skit, they were doing it. I tell my story. I sit down. They do their skit, and then at the end, we were all talking, and she was like, "Oh, we got to have you come up like the next time and do a skit with us." And it was funny because I thought of it for a second. I'm like, when they were doing the skit, I go, "Man, wouldn't that be funny if I just went up there and improv too?" Even though I'm like, I got no experience. I don't know what I'm doing, and it is pretty remarkable what they can do off the cuff like that, because you're having to think right away and come up with these little skits, and you got to work off of each other. I'm going, holy shit! Just watching them do that is pretty cool and pretty remarkable in itself. But I thought of it for a split second. I go, man, that would be cool if I got up there. But I'm like, oh man, I don't think I could do it. So the fact that she even mentioned it, I was like, well, yeah, I guess you never know. Never say never, right?
Maybe one day,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, maybe. You never know, right? You never
The next one, Paul shows up on the,
know.
in the troop, like, what
Oh,
the hell's
right.
going on?
Oh, I
It's
know,
like
right?
I quit being a drummer. I'm
Yeah,
just doing comedy
there
now.
you go. That's it. My next gig.
Yeah.
Funny stuff.
So how long have you been playing? How long have you been playing hockey?
Since I was like 5 years old, I mean, being from Buffalo, New York, growing up there, of course, I would say it's a good chance you're, playing hockey. We're almost Canadian for that matter. I mean, we're
Yeah.
stone's throw from Fort Erie, and so obviously hockey's a huge thing in Buffalo. So my dad got me into it when I was young, and I played my whole youth basically up until I was maybe 17, 18, I guess, when I stopped playing, and then that's at that crossroads, and I loved it. I played hockey my whole life. I'm able to play, and I love the sport and all that. But that's all I did. I played hockey my whole, said youth basically. And when becoming a teenager, of course, music starting to kind of creep in and take over a little bit more so when I'm mid-teen, 15, 16, 17 years old. And then I had a decision to make. Well, what am I going to do? Am I going to I could have pursued hockey. I could have, but then you have to go to college to do, or go to play in the juniors or something like that. And that's a big commitment. But at the time, music was so strong with me. I mean, it was like obviously turning into my passion. And I'm like, man, I want to play music. I want to be in a band. I want to jam out. And that was that much strong of a feeling that my hockey career, of course, ended. Like I said, I did when I was 17, 18 years old, and then music took over. And I didn't even skate for, geez, it was like 7 years. I didn't even skate. I guess I was probably just like, okay, well, if I'm concentrating on music and I skated my whole life, I probably needed the break, I suppose. But looking back, I wish I didn't, because I remember the first time skating after that 7 year point, being out on the ice, going, wow, I miss this. I mean, this is part of me. I mean, I can skate, I can play the game of hockey, which not a lot of people can do that.
Right.
It's almost like I know it's a privilege in a sense, and it's a, like I said, a part of me. This is what I've been doing my whole life. So I vowed to myself at that point of going, man, whenever I'm home, I'm going to be playing hockey. Obviously the band was already in gear and we're going on tour, but I always looked at like, hey, if I'm off tour and I'm home, I'm playing hockey, and that's what I do. So I've been, that's when I think we were still living in Buffalo, moved to Tampa in '94, and brought my gear down, joined a men's league, and still playing down in Tampa every all the time. I play on Sundays these days, and get together, and of course it's great fun, and like I said, I can do it. So it's something that I'm sure I'll be doing until I can't. So
What a very different world too, like Buffalo and Tampa.
yeah.
Did you find it hard to find people to play hockey with when you got down there?
No, actually, it was fairly easy in the sense, so we're talking '94. So it was, I think there was only like a couple rinks at that point, at this point. There was hockey, but there was only a couple rinks. The Lightning didn't come into play until, well, I guess they just came into play. I think it was around that time. I think it was like '93, maybe '92, '93, the Lightning came in. So there was, so you got pro hockey here already, just barely though. And the great thing about it is obviously Florida in general, but Tampa is just that hotbed for northern implants. So you
Yeah.
got so many Buffalonians I met like in the first week of living here, and then there's so many Canadians that live here, and there's so many people from Michigan, and so many people from the north that come down, and there are people like me that, well, I played hockey, and I want to keep playing, of course. So actually, I remember playing right off the bat, and the competition was good. It's not like you're playing with people that never played, just Floridians are going, I don't know what I'm doing out there. Well, the hockey would be pretty bad. So yeah, you're playing with guys like myself that just looking to play, and they've relocated, and they can do it. So and then it's expanded since then. I said at least there was a couple of rinks, which was good, and now, geez, there's a handful of rinks in the Tampa area alone. So and then more people coming down, and then of course the Floridians and the southern people that you think of somebody, right, 20 some years ago, 30 years ago, that was a kid. Well, and if they started then, well, you got these southern people, or the hot weather guys that are in the NHL now, like an Austin Matthews who grew up in Phoenix. Like that was
Right.
obviously unheard of 50 years ago, right? If you're not from Canada, or like Michigan or New York or Boston, you're not playing hockey. So it's amazing that it's is expanded the way it has over the years, and be in these warm weather environments, and really be thriving, which is awesome to see.
Yeah, it really is. I grew up in Detroit, and it
Oh,
was,
killer. Yeah. All
same
right.
thing.
Right.
Obviously hockey town,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's huge. Yeah. I remember
yeah.
going to Detroit a few times to play tournaments. We went over we'd always go over there to Michigan, and yeah, yeah, played a lot of tournaments in Canada, and stuff like that. But yeah, that's that whole northern area, Minnesota, Michigan, New York, Massachusetts, that whole, it's hockey. It's right. It's hockey, Michigan
Yeah.
though, hotbed for sure for.
Yeah, I mean, some of my favorite times were going out to the one of the
Yeah.
lakes and
Right.
clearing off your rink and
Yeah.
smashing each other,
Yeah, I know.
Ah,
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that's fun. I miss that. That would be cool to do that. I mean, I played a little bit outside, not a lot, but you were able to. You just can't do that down here. I just
yeah.
ran into some old friends from Buffalo that came down to Tampa, and we got together. And the guy showed me his rink that he's got in his backyard. I'm like, man, yeah, that'd be awesome. We obviously can't do that down in Florida. But right up there at this time of year, you could be skating outside, and that's an amazing thing.
Yeah. Yeah, hard to do in Florida, that's for sure.
And pretty much impossible.
Yeah. Well, you got your inline skates.
Yeah, it's funny. I never inline skated. I was always a ice guy, and I never did that. And I almost wish I did, just to kind of have the outlet if I needed to. But right, like I said, so much ice down here now that it's like,
Yeah.
oh, I just play on the ice. I mean, I don't need to, inline. Right. If there was lack of rinks, I guess you'd have no choice. choice. But since there isn't, I don't know if I'll ever probably ever do that at this point in my life. But
Yeah, I feel like it would be a very different
yeah.
experience too, you
Yeah, it
know?
is. I know a lot of guys that do both, and it is a different way of moving on there, and I don't think I could do it. I mean, it would take me a while. I'm obviously very comfortable on skates on the
Yeah.
ice, but I know inline skating would be a lot different. So I don't think I'd be as comfortable.
Yeah, you're probably right. Probably not, especially after this many years of,
Yeah, right. Yep, yep,
ice skating. Like,
yep, yep, yep. So I'll just keep it at that. I'll stick to the ice.
right on. Uh, what, that tour with Meshuggah, what are you like most looking forward to with that?
Yeah, I mean, just playing, playing in front of different people. I mean, a tour like that, that's why you do a tour like that. We were like, okay, well, we're playing, look at the venues we're playing.
Yeah.
Most of the venues are venues we're not going to headline ourselves. So you got to play with a band like Meshuggah, just kind of similar to what we did with the Amon Amarth tour. It's the same kind of a thing. You're playing just in just slightly bigger venues because they're a bigger band, and then, this one in particular may be a little different because I'm on more death metal per se than say Meshuggah. So there's
Yeah.
probably going to be a little bit, maybe we're playing some fans that don't know our music and vice versa for Meshuggah. So it'll be cool just to be playing in these bigger venues. I mean, we got a couple that we're looking forward to. I mean, they're all going to be great. But when you look down the list and you're, wow, the theater at Madison Square Garden, that's I hear we've never played that, and just something that's got that attached to it. If you're playing something attached to Madison Square Garden, that's pretty cool. Something we're playing a few arenas that we did on the Amon Amarth tour. The hockey arenas, which is pretty cool to play because that's
Yeah.
few and far between for bands like ourselves. Um, so it'll be good to play in front of a few more people, and like you said, the diverse in the audience. Playing probably in front of maybe some fans that might not have seen us before. So it should be a really fun time for sure.
Oh yeah. And what a wild world we're in, back in the late 80s, early 90s, hell, even mid and late 90s. You were never thinking that death metal would be
Oh, never.
where it's at today, which
Oh
is
no, yeah, I know, incredible, really. I mean, it is remarkable to go. Wow, it's almost you hate to use the word mainstream because it's really not. It's death metal, but it is mainstream in the sense where people know it and it's been around that long. You mentioned Cannibal Corpse or death metal to maybe the average person. Chances are they might have heard of us, or
yeah.
heard of death metal, but they're doesn't mean they're a fan. But that just goes with it's been around for a while now. And which is amazing. But yeah, it is cool to see bands that are taking it to that next level that are in the big time, like a band like Slipknot or whatever, that can be, a very, very heavy band that's influenced by death metal, and to be as big as they are, I never thought a band like that would be that big or what have you, or for that sake, exactly, us playing what we're doing, 30
Right.
years ago, you're like, no way, it's death metal. It's crazy music. It's not for everybody. And it still isn't, but it's just, is it ever going to become that popular, to be able to, play these places? Well, it has, and it's pretty amazing for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, seeing you guys open the show for Slayer in West Virginia,
Right.
that was 2019. Like
Right. Yeah.
to see the
Yeah.
amount of crowd that was there for you guys was like,
Yeah.
holy shit.
Yeah, that was great, to be a part of that, to be playing amphitheaters and to go, wow, we're a death metal band and we're playing on stages like that where, mainstream bands play, and we're a part of this big heavy festival like even Slayer play and stuff like that. Is just wow. Who would have thought when I first saw Slayer and Rain and Blood Tour '86 that you would be that they'd be playing places like that, and to that many people and be as big of a band as they are. That's pretty remarkable for sure.
Yeah. I mean, shit, selling out Madison Square Garden
Yeah,
and
I know, right? Amazing. I know, right? Incredible. Really is.
yeah. Hell
Hmm.
yeah for heavy music.
That's right. That's right.
What aside from the tour with Meshuggah, what else does the band have planned for the rest of the year?
I don't know. We don't have anything past this. As far as I know, we should be doing another tour, but nothing's set in stone right now. So really nothing to talk about. But I guess we're just taking it one step at a time. But yeah, definitely this tour coming up, and then probably another tour. But we'll see what happens, and that's all I can really say, I guess, at this point.
All right.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah,
I
but
get it.
we're not going anywhere, so that's good. I mean, it's obviously, what do we end up doing? We tour, we put our record, we tour. So
Yeah.
I'm eventually down the line, I'm sure that's what'll be happening, right? But yeah, but nothing. We have nothing planned, and but I would imagine, obviously, it'd just be more of the same. That's what we do, right? That's what Cannibal Corpse does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are pretty religious on like the album schedule too. About every 1 to 2 years, you guys have something new coming out.
Yeah, it's a little tricky now, just the way after COVID and all that. I mean, obviously, we put two albums out really close together because we wrote two albums pretty close together because of the whole COVID thing. Now that obviously we're past that, I mean, yeah, at this point, our next album, might take a might in between Chaos Horrific and the next album could be a few more years than normal. But
Yeah.
that was just that it was just that weird period there that kind of threw it off. Yeah, in a perfect world, yeah, when you look at it's usually no longer than say 3 years between releases. So, it's hard to say. It doesn't mean that that's the way it needs to be, but we definitely aren't a band that are going to wait, 6, 7 years in between releases. There's a lot of
Right.
bands that do that. So we're usually pretty consistent in that regard, but we'll see what happens because, like I said, how everything got just kind of screwed up here. But eventually, we'll be getting something going for sure.
Yeah. In time. I'm
Yeah,
sure when you guys are ready, it'll happen, you
yeah,
know?
exactly. And there's no rush, I guess, right now.
Nah, not with, I mean, you guys are what, 16 full lengths and
Yeah, yeah,
bunch of lives and EPs. Like that's a lot of fucking material.
yeah, it is. It definitely is, but you want to keep moving forward, of course, and releasing music. I think, we're a band in that regard as well, where we just don't want to rest on our laurels and go, okay, we're done. We can just play, and we probably could. We could probably go out and tour the rest of our careers just on what we have.
Right.
But I mean, like probably like most musicians, most bands, you don't want to do that. You want to just always kind of keep it fresh and keep moving forward and wanting to create. I mean, I'd say if you're really into what you're doing, you more than likely you would want to do that. I mean, not everybody, but it seems to be for sure our attitude is always creating new music, as you move forward.
Yeah, you really got to,
Yeah,
just keep chugging away.
yeah, sure, why not? It's fun.
So what bands are you listening to right now that you think other people should listen to?
Yeah, man, no one's going to want to listen to what I'm listening to. No, I don't listen to a lot of new music for the most part. It's kind of crazy. I think I've reverted back to my, if I'm listening these days, most of the time, if I'm listening to anything new, it's something that came out in 1971 that I never heard before. And that's new to me. But yeah, the only if I'm going to put anything heavy, it's going to always be something classic like Slayer, or I don't know, or just more like Iron Maiden, maybe Judas Priest. The bands that I grew up with, that the
Yeah.
metal. That, but man, I love rock and roll. That's like my passion. I mean, I got a side project that's been happening for a few years now, and it's a total rock and roll kind of a thing. We released a CD a couple of years ago. The band's called Umbilicus. We
With
released.
Teats.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. So Teats. There you go. So the situation, and
Yep.
that's really my passion is rock and roll. So the band that I really think is one of the best bands coming out of and they're kind of not new now, but they're sort of. I love Greta Van Fleet. I really love that band.
Okay.
And I think they do a great job at just the pure rock and, for younger kids, just kind of, bringing out the passion, like of, reminding you of like the 70s or maybe the early 80s or what have you, like that with that kind of music. I really think they're amazing and I love that band. So in newer bands like death metal wise or I know what's out there, but, and I hear some, but I don't listen really. I can't say like, oh man, that band's amazing. Ironically enough, enough, the one thing I did listen to though recently is everybody's talking about the new, Blood Incantation record,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know. And you just hear all the reviews and everything. And, we toured with them and we know those guys, great band, great guys. But I never listened to them. I mean, I just don't. I mean, I hate to say that. And then they probably don't care. Like, that's just, hey, that's who I am, man. You're great people. You're a great band. I don't just sit down and listen to all this death metal anymore. I just don't. I can appreciate it and know what's out there, but I just don't. All right, let me hear everything that's out there. Let me, be overloaded. It's like, it's almost too much for me. But I did listen to the Blood Incantation just recently, just last week, and I wrote to them and told them, I go, man, because that is a pretty crazy record, right? I
Yeah.
mean, with all the diversity on that, I mean, for taking death metal to a whole different kind of way of doing it, when you got all and it's like, man, 1 minute it's Pink Floyd, and then the next minute it's something else, and but it's done with such quality. It's done really, obviously, really well, and that's why it's getting the accolades it is, right? From the death metal community and beyond.
Oh
So
yeah.
yeah, so that was. I'm glad I listened to that, and what a crazy record, But good for them, man, because they're pushing boundaries and stuff, and that's really cool.
They are. I think that was probably one of the coolest things when with that tour, you know. Obviously Mayhem was
Right.
super cool. That was a band I always wanted to see, but like Blood Incantation, Gorguts, Mayhem, and you
Yeah.
guys, it was a very well-rounded like bill, and there
Right.
was not a boring part at all through there. You
Well,
were
well, good to hear, man. That's what you want, I think, on tours. You want the fans to be engaged in that regard, to look at a bill like that, and go, "Wow, I can't miss that."
yeah.
That's a tour I need to see, and that was one for sure. I mean, what a lineup that was, right? So that is cool. But yeah, I just, like I said, man, I'm living under a rock these days, to where I don't even know what's going on in modern music. So yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, I'll send you some good rock and roll out of Cincinnati.
Oh,
Uh,
cool.
Great band. Love these dudes. They're the greatest guys ever. Called Blessed Black.
Huh.
They just
All right.
they
All right.
they fucking
Oh, cool.
jam.
Is it a new band, or they been around? Or?
Yeah, they've been around like a few years.
All
Nothing
right.
like too crazy.
Right.
So Murphy, who is the front guy, was in War Curse prior to,
Okay. Okay.
and now he's just doing Blessed Black,
Oh,
which
cool.
is, God, man, they're so good.
Oh, awesome. Good to hear, man. Yeah, like you said, that's, what kind of I gravitate towards, like more of the old school, in that regard. But yeah, when Greta came out, I was just like, I was blown away, and I was really, man, this band is gonna. I had a feeling they were gonna do something huge, and sure enough, they have. And really, just when I listen to all their stuff, they put out a new record, I get it and absorb it. I'm like, man, they're a great band. So yeah, I'm curious to hear that for sure. That's awesome.
Yeah, not in that. It's not in that vein at
Right.
all. But
Right.
dude,
Cool.
they're just fucking great.
Awesome. Yeah. Send me, remind me, send me that. I'll give it a whirl.
Yeah, I'll shoot you the Spotify link. I know
Sure.
that's the big evil one, but
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, I can only listen a little. You know what? I actually am an Apple Music guy.
okay,
Yeah. 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 I'm on Apple Music, but I can go look it up on Apple Music, so
for
I'm sure,
sure. Yeah.
sure on that. Yeah. I don't know why I just never went Spotify for some reason. And I know everyone talks about the things about this and this, and it's like, whatever. Yeah, we can argue about that, but obviously, like all of us are probably listening to music that way on some one of these services. It
Yep.
just so happened Apple Music. I hear some good things. All right, got an iPhone. Yeah, let's just do Apple Music. So it's just been going that route.
Yeah, funny. I've got an iPhone. I've been an iPhone for, I don't know, 15 years or
Oh, really?
whatever it is, and
Just
I
Spotify.
never went to Apple
Oh,
Music.
right. Oh, wow. So you just Spotify for the most part. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Strange. Yeah. Who knows? Just the way it goes. I don't know why, but yeah. Right. Right. Yeah.
Well, one of the things I'll tell you, I was thinking about going to Apple Music, and I've got a bunch of music that I purchased through
Right.
iTunes,
Right. Right. Right.
and they're like, if you go to Apple Music, it'll erase off your phone. And I'm
Really?
like,
Really?
yeah, that's
Oh,
what they said. And I'm
huh.
like,
Yeah.
I'll stay
I
away.
never thought of that, because obviously iTunes was first before Apple Music. And then, yeah, I used iTunes all the time. Yeah. 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 Well, good to know, because I probably, man, I'm sure I bought some stuff off of iTunes that isn't on my phone now that I would have had like on an old computer that I probably forgot about. And I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, I bought that before, or I got that on my old iPod and my mini somewhere. And yeah, but yeah, if you know that would stink if it's going to erase all that. You don't want that to happen, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, all right. Well, there you go. That's a good reason not to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Whatever. Yeah, that's like that's just always been why I've
right.
shied away from it.
Yeah, it makes sense. Makes sense. Totally makes.
So like obviously we talked about Teats for a quick second. That dude has so many hands and like
Oh, always, man. I mean, those guys, him and Jeremy, are
him
very,
and Jeremy. Yeah.
yeah, such workhorses and just constantly, man, that's amazing about them. They're and obviously Teats because jam with him in Umbilicus and
Yeah.
such a great talent. What a great songwriter and great musician and all that. I mean, obviously a great guy too, but I mean, my gosh, right, what they're doing with Inhuman Condition and great to see him in Deicide and being contributing and what he's done with Umbilicus. I don't know if you heard any of that. I mean, he's just
Yeah.
we feel he wrote some great songs. I mean, that guy is just a machine when it comes to that creativity machine. So, yeah, and I know, and they're just constantly just doing this. And how many bands is he in at this point? Who the hell knows, right?
Yeah. Well, the
Yeah,
ones we know about, it's got to be like six, I think.
at least, yeah, you're right, right. So, yeah, good for him though, man. He breathes it, eats it, lives it, which is
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, such a great guy, great talent.
Yeah, him getting deicide, Jeremy
Yeah,
getting
yeah,
playing with Overkill
yeah.
now.
Yeah. Now, good for them, because they're both very talented. Jeremy, a talented drummer, and
Yeah.
and a great engineer and a great producer and all that kind of thing. So, and both of them, yeah, what Taylor does with the studio as well. I know producing a lot. So, so good for them, because they deserve it. They're the workaholics, workhorses, and great at what they do. So, that's good things happen to people like that. So that's great.
Yeah, well, you put the energy out. I
Yeah.
mean,
Right.
and just
Yeah.
keep chugging. I mean,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
when I talked to him at when Deicide was here last,
Hmm.
they're like, "Oh yeah, we have Inhuman Condition 4 written already." And I'm
Right.
like,
Oh, I know. I know.
"Hell yeah."
Yeah, I know, right? And and Taylor works so quick like that. Yeah, I'm going to write the new record. 2 days later, it's done, and it's not like it's thrown together or anything. It's just, yeah,
Right.
how he is. It's just he's such a great writer like that. Like man, things just come to him, and there you go. It's amazing. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's great that they're working on the new one right now. So yeah, awesome.
Yeah. I think that new The Absence album, the latest The Absence album,
Right.
Jeremy was like, "Yeah, that one's on the shelf for a little bit." And Taylor comes back and goes, "Uh,
Yeah.
I've got a new Absence album written."
Oh yeah. Right. Right.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, let's do it. Then they get it done, because Jeremy's the same way. All right, we'll work on that song tomorrow and well, record it the next day. It's all ready to go. Yeah,
Yeah.
those guys are awesome. So yeah, good for them. Right. Yeah.
Hell, hell yeah. It's great. I think that's really cool about like Tampa. I feel like Tampa's got a really tight knit like community there.
Yeah, for the most part, a lot of musicians, of course. I mean, obviously, it was always known as the death metal capital of the world in a sense. But I think it was more because of Morrisound and everybody wanting to go to record at Morrisound, and then just so
Yeah.
happened to be a bunch of bands that were kind of based out of Tampa. It was almost like coincidental in the way I looked at it. Because I don't think there was only like a couple that were actually from Florida, from Tampa, like Obituary being a true Floridian band. And everybody else seemed to be like have everybody kind of came from somewhere else, and it just so happens to be that they were in the Tampa area. So I think it was more coincidence than anything. But yeah, there's a lot of people still come to Tampa, and there's a lot of musicians here, and so it is cool to have that concentration, especially in the heavy department and that in the death metal community where we got all these guys that are still here, and you see them out and where everyone's friends and all that. It's really really cool thing.
Hell yeah, it is. Hell yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
hell yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Paul, I'm gonna ask you this, and then I'm gonna call it a night.
All right.
How was your holiday?
Oh man, thank you so much. Yeah, it was great. It was a great holiday. I had a great Christmas, great Christmas Eve, and all that. And yeah, can't complain at all. It was amazing. It was wonderful. Thank you for asking. So
Hell
I
yeah.
had a great one too. So
anytime I get to spend with my family, I'm
Yeah.
happy.
Well, that's great. Yeah, and that's what it's obviously about. I mean, it's funny. You look at like holidays as, oh, we should be treating every day has got to be kind of like a holiday in a sense. Happy to be alive, happy to be
Yeah,
around family, right? Whenever you can see family, it's like a special thing. It should always be that way. And you need a holiday to like, oh, to come together. It's a little more special, but at the same time, right? Every day should be kind of like, happy go lucky and just happy to be alive, like you said, and have be around your family if you can. And yeah, I know what you mean on that regard. So, but it makes it a little extra special around the holidays, of course. So, good to hear, man. Yeah, good to hear.
absolutely
Yeah,
does. Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
okay, yeah, yeah. So awesome, dude.
Awesome. Well, Paul, thank
Yeah.
you. Detroit, I'll be at the Meshuggah show,
Oh,
Detroit.
cool. All right, cool, cool.
If you want to grab lunch early in the day and you have time,
Yeah,
we'll
I'll
go
let
hit.
you know. Yeah, I'll
We'll,
let you know. See, check the schedule out and all that kind of stuff. See what's going on. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But we'll
yep,
keep in touch, and hopefully that could possibly be a good possibility. That'd be be fun. So
for sure. I'll
yeah,
go take you to some Hockey Town shit.
yeah. There you go. Yeah, man. It's Detroit. It's Original Six and Gordie Howe and all that kind of
Oh
thing, and
yeah,
some legends, Steve Eiserman, and geez, Detroit.
Probert and
Yeah, everybody, man.
yeah,
Sergei Fedorov, and my gosh, and the list goes on and on. So it's an amazing, amazing hockey town, of course, and we'll see what happens with football, though. Man, we could be a Bills Lions Super Bowl. You never know.
dude,
And
so close.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That could be. It could be. It would be awesome. Unfortunately, one team is going to have to win. One's going to have to lose for both of them never winning a Super Bowl. And I know Detroit's never even been to one, so uh,
Yeah,
man, that would be a tough one because you know everyone knows the Buffalo story. My wide right missing going to four Super Bowls in a row and not winning one. So we're both in that boat. So it kind of it would be great to see. I always rooted for Detroit because they were that underdog team
yeah,
for the Lions. I never minded the hockey team, of course, because it wasn't really a major rivalry with Buffalo. But football, same thing, being a different conference, and you just always felt for Detroit, like they were similar to Buffalo in that regard. Just never getting over that hump. Never getting the big one, and now that Detroit are that close, it's got to be obviously very exciting in the city. And
oh
same thing
yeah,
low because we're feeling that kind of like maybe better than we've had the opportunity in the past. So it would be a pretty cool Super Bowl to see. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Yeah, that's right.
yeah, and as long as they both make it, whoever wins wins.
Yeah, well,
Like,
that's why somebody's going to win for the first time, and it's going to be exciting,
yeah,
regardless, exactly. Instead of the same old team, man. Who wants Kansas City to go and win again? Like, come on, man.
or San Francisco. Like, come
Right,
on.
right. Or any of these teams, Philadelphia. I mean, that's the good thing about, same thing with Minnesota. Okay, they've never won. So if Minnesota happened to go and win, okay, good. They never won one. And they're obviously a good team this year too. So let's, it'd be nice to get somebody else to win one as opposed to the same old teams here.
For sure,
So,
for
but
sure.
yeah, so we'll see what happens. Somebody will be raising that trophy next month. So yeah, or a month and a half, I suppose at this point.
Yeah, yeah, probably
Yeah,
about that.
right,
Yep.
right, right.
Whoever it is,
Yeah,
good on you.
yeah, exactly. Unless you're Kansas City. Anyways, all right. On that note,
Yeah,
I thank you so much for the
yeah.
interview. Yeah, we'll keep in touch, and hopefully we'll see you in Detroit in a few months. So,
All right, sounds good,
all
Paul.
right,
Have a
man.
great day.
Yeah, thank you. All right, take care.
Thanks.